All right, let's get a video out for y'all, and hopefully the dog doesn't continue to interrupt me. Week 14, last of this phase, final phase of my training season. Last practices, I can see, sweatshirt on, a little cool this morning. So getting into the fall weather. Didn't have a pair of pliers on me. Well, actually, was too lazy to go get one. So went ahead and threw the short chain 49 here. This is probably like the Wednesday, I think, before heading out to the games for the final games of the year, the Crystal Coast Highland Games. And just wanted to kind of touch a little bit everything. So nothing too crazy, didn't measure a thing, just wanted to kind of work on technique. Excuse me, I just burped from drinking a protein shake. I don't make this up, I don't redo it. So, like I said, wanted to touch some stuff. I knew we had Braemar, so wanted to throw a 20-pound slam ball. This is one I'm going to use a lot more in the offseason. I'm going to buy one or buy a 30 as well. Kind of just really working on this push. Working on trying to use my right side first. Like how these feel. And, man, you can do them anywhere you can find a wall, and you don't have to chase them down. Hit that broad jump before there. So going to try to get a little bit of measurements in my next 2 weeks, first 2 weeks of the offseason, kind of test things out. Get some measurements on some stuff and kind of have that as a tester and kind of I'll take y'all through a little bit of what in the coming videos and maybe in the next week or two I'll go over kind of what I'm got planned for my off season and how I'm going to try to address things. But as I'm showing you here, kind of some different intensities with these. Kind of stood closer to the wall at first and now step back, really trying to just force myself to push and really just get after it with the Braemar. It's one of my weakest events in the grand scheme. One way you can kind of look at your events is if you look at the score you get for them in NASGA. So if it is a 756, that's let's say 75.6% of the best that they have recorded in there versus an 832. The 832 is relatively better to the best quote-unquote throw they have scored. So the lower the number, that's the event you might want to work on. I'll have to go over that in a different video as well. So on this same day, went in, hit some powers, worked up to 90 kilos. Actually, 100 kilos. Forgot about that. Didn't have any misses, so kept working up. Worked up to 100 and I believe 130 on the power clean. So it was just kind of wanted to work up powers, and as they felt good, and they actually felt all right. If you go listen to the week prior to this, I was fighting back pain all week. So I was feeling pretty good going into this week. Got it worked out and hit these last little bit of powers. And then I also hit some squats and deads. Deads. I hit clean pulls. I just set a 5 at 130. I went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I believe. Or 4, 3, 2, 1. See, it sucks when you record this like a week later. 130, 140, 150, 160. And then squatted and did some quick squats. I don't even know if I recorded all the squats. But just kind of wanted to touch it. Actually, I take that back. This was earlier in the week. This was like a Monday or Tuesday. Because I wouldn't have gone this heavy that close if it was a Wednesday. Here's the 160. Nothing crazy. Went into some quick squats. Hadn't done like a straight bar, straight weight, back squat, full range of motion. If you saw last week, I did those quarter squats, which I ended up doing later in the week. I believe, I don't know. I can't really remember all the stuff I recorded. Actually, I do remember what I hit, and it was on this day. I believe this was the Thursday. Actually, this was actually Friday morning. So we got tied up at the firehouse on Thursday. So I was like, you know what? I didn't get this stuff in Thursday afternoon. I'm going to go get it in. Oh, and then we had crazy rain come through. So I took 3 stand throws, and I took, I think, 5 fulls here. Nothing to write home about. Like I said, kind of earlier in the week, just wanted to touch it, knowing that these are the events that I have especially open stone is something I have to hit, or my technique seems to kind of go away real quick. So got to keep touching it. Actually got into and threw way too much sheath, arguably, on this day. But if you notice right here, this is offhanded. This is something I may switch to in the off season. I tend to keep my front side shoulder. So right here, my right shoulder, the one with the hand in the forks, I keep it in a better position, and I'm driving through finishing a little bit better. So I'm wondering if that's not because of the left quad issue. I'm also not falling away as much. As you notice, that head leans away. There's my normal hand. Versus here, watch the head not lean away as drastically. It still does a little, but it's nowhere close as drastic, and that one came off early. But this one I kind of have more direct up into. Get off the counter! There you go. This is my real life. Dog's up on the counter. Never is on the counter. What the hell? So, like I said, I think I took like 15 total pulls here in sheaf, which is a little much, but it was offhanded and it doesn't seem to fatigue me too much. And some of these went much better than others. And, still mind fucking yourself trying to figure out what the hell you're doing. I ended up going with the just regular this style left hand in the forks for competition just because I know I can be a little bit more consistent. And then I went upstairs and finished up with these pin squats. It was the last thing I did before I basically went home, packed up, and headed out of town. I didn't know how heavy they'd go, and I kind of had to adjust and figure out how high I wanted the pins. These I went a lot higher than I had to the box the week before, but it's just trying to get under the bar and then actually hitting the reps. It just felt like the right place to get under the bar without kind of cramming myself in there and feeling all right. So because it was only a quarter squat, I was able to work up pretty heavy and just felt confident. It was not bad at all. Worked up to 5 plates for 2 singles. And once I got up to the heavier last sets, I actually recorded these. I just stepped out and did a vertical jump, kind of some of that contrast training. Here's the next one at 5 plates. And then I said, screw it, I was going to do 3 singles there. And on the last one, I added another 25 on either side, threw on the bumper plate, and it went perfectly fine. So that was it for the last week of competition season.